In 1990X, there would be a marked uptick in reports of animal deaths in the outskirts of Onett. Who or what was killing all these animals? 52-year-old Gabe Bridges and 55-year-old JJ Walking would be brutally murdered while returning to their home after a night out in Happy Happy Village. In Fourside, department store manager Spook would have his life taken in a brazen midday attack while attempting to protect department store patrons. Now we turn our attention to the boy at the center of this horror, Ness, a psychotic and delusional serial killer.
It was a pretty normal summer until my dog went missing. I'm not sure how he got out of the yard, but we started looking for him right away. We actually didn't find him, but a few days later on the news, we heard of other pets showing up in the outskirts of town. I honestly had a sick feeling. I didn't want to find our dog, but somehow I knew that I would.
For the span of a few weeks, there would be numerous reports of missing animals. A fear began to sweep over the small town of Onett as the numbers continued to rise. Police and pet owners would indicate clustering of pets near these areas, but without evidence, police considered the matter closed.
There wasn't really anything directly linking Ness to the animal disappearances at that time. We know that killing animals is one of the earliest signs of psychopathy, and in this case, it wasn't just dogs. He was killing snakes and birds in the area as well. In fact, he believed he was told that animals and people would become corrupted by these aliens.
Yeah, I would say Ness and I were friends. There was a weird incident though. We were at the meteor this one time and Ness captured this bee and kept saying it was from the future. He said he needed to save the world with some friends, but I just wanted to go home. My mom killed that bee Ness found and he freaked out. He just stood there for a long time over top of it. Nobody really knew what to do, and then he just up and left.
Ness would make his way to Onett, where he would brutally attack two young boys inside an arcade. 14-year-old pogo enthusiast Devin and 13-year-old skateboarder Anthony would both be hospitalized for severe injuries. Ness would go on to destroy the arcade mascot before making his way towards Giant Step.
The Onett police looked for Ness for 2 days. Eventually, an officer found him at the base of Giant Step. The Onett police just saw some kid that was into baseball, but leaving him with the bat was a big mistake. He would attack the police chief with the bat and flee the police station. Before anyone could react, he was in the woods and out of town.
Ness would then travel to Twoson through a corridor of forest between the two towns. It had been days since Ness had been home, but his parents would not file a missing persons report, as Ness was in regular contact with them. His father was even regularly sending him money. He would continue to have minor encounters with police, but would evade incarceration through fate or luck.
By the time Ness entered Twoson, his delusions were already quite pronounced. Ness believed that he and his imagined friends were the chosen ones, and that it was their mission to save the planet from an alien attack.
Ness would vanish, only to reappear in the village of Happy Happy. It is here he would commit his first homicide. Roommates Gabe Bridges and JJ Walking were returning from a church event when they found Ness exiting their house. Ness brutally attacked and killed both men.
While at the cabin, Ness would experience a persistent auditory verbal hallucination in the form of a girl named Paula. Many of the command hallucinations Ness would experience would originate as a result of Paula. In this case, Paula told him that he needed to attack a local minister named Carpenter in order to save her.
He continued his rampage in Happy Happy Village, showing up at a church event and assaulting churchgoer Stephen Freeze, before confronting and attacking the church leader Carpenter. Ness would return to Twoson, where he would inexplicably hitchhike with some musicians to a small town named Threed. He would vandalize a tent, and the locals would occasionally spot him eating out of garbage cans and loitering in the cemetery. Ness would also manifest another persistent auditory verbal delusion, Jeff.
Paula represents Ness's desire, whereas Jeff represents Ness's intelligence. Ness imagined this hallucination was a genius from the Winters Academy. He would even develop a backstory to explain how Jeff came to him. This would be the second of what would ultimately be 3 persistent hallucinations.
Ness would next appear in the metropolis of Fourside, where he would go on a rampage in a local mall. Ness would destroy various merchandise before making his way to the department store manager's office. There, Ness would accuse the department store manager Spook of being an alien, and then brutally bludgeon him to death.
Department store manager Spook was very brave. He stayed back to give the announcement to evacuate the mall. The focus was on evacuation and preventing a mass casualty. We believe that Ness hid in the mall until it reopened and blended in to leave the premises unseen.
A few days later, Ness would be seen exiting the back room of a bar. It's believed he started using illicit street drugs at this time. He would next be spotted in Summers. He would be seen purchasing drugs and would later destroy priceless artifacts.
Ness's final persistent hallucination, Pooh, was formed around this time. To him, Pooh embodied his physical strength. You must imagine his loneliness. To him, these were his friends. Paula represented his desires, Jeff represents his intelligence, and Pooh represents his strength. At this point, he believed he was ready to face his final challenges.
Ness is believed to have stowed away on a fishing boat, where he would kill the captain and commandeer the vessel.
We think Ness waited a few days until they were well away from shore. Then, when they were in isolation, Ness emerged to kill the captain and commandeer the vessel. He wouldn't, however, have known how to operate such a complicated fishing vessel, and so he drifted. A few months later, a survivalist would find him, and search and rescue would call my office.
I was out hunting. Suddenly I saw this kid. Honestly, it's impressive. The kid survived as long as he did. Those cops said he was out here for quite a while. I went to check on him, but he just kept saying tender shy, over and over again. I actually thought his name was Tender at first. I didn't know he was some wanted kid. I called rescue services, told them this kid is lost or something out here. He was acting all crazed, so I didn't want to try and get him out there myself.
Law enforcement would capture Ness, after which he would be brought to Winter's Forensic Hospital. This was a state-of-the-art facility that would provide him with treatment while ensuring public safety.
This boy that came in was remarkable. Most cases aren't this bad. He had severe TRS with a mechanical variant of Cotard syndrome. TRS stands for treatment-resistant schizophrenia, and Cotard syndrome is a delusion where a person believes they are dead or do not exist. In the deep darkness, Ness believed that he died during his final battle with the aliens, and that he was now in a robot body that we built after finding him. We reinforced to him that there are no dangers in this place, but it is important not to feed into his delusions. They are persistent, so he is still considered a very high-risk patient.
If you or someone you know saw Ness perform a crime we didn't cover, please let us know in the comments below. Perhaps you could help solve a mystery. If you would like to see more stories showing you the dark underbelly of video game protagonists, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon.